Caitlin, where do you watch your Korean dramas? Caitlin, how do you watch so many dramas and on what places can I find them? Where do I even start? These are some of the questions that I've gotten over the years from people who are new to Korean dramas or want to start watching them and then have no idea where to find them. In this video, I'm going to talk about all the streaming sites that I watch Korean dramas on. And also, I'm going to dip into my little history of starting watching dramas and where I started from, and then again, what streaming sites I use. This will be on maybe a little shorter side of a video, but that's okay. One of the biggest questions I get, because I have been watching dramas for a really long time, is where can I find Korean dramas? I saw this one, but I like them, or I've found them on Netflix, and I've watched all of the ones on Netflix, but I want to watch more. This is what that video is going to answer. A little history on my drama watching experience. I've been watching dramas for over 15 years now, almost 20 at this point. And obviously, given that length of time, streaming sites didn't always exist back then. So I was one of those people who was watching Korean dramas broken up into little pieces on YouTube. And that's how I originally found my first Korean drama, was Boys Over Flowers. And it was broken up into 5-minute segments in a super long playlist. So whoever made that playlist, shout out to you, because you're the ones that made me get into Korean dramas. If you're curious, I found Korean dramas in 2008, and then it branched off from there to all of the other Asian dramas. Originally, when I started watching Korean dramas, I basically found whatever I could on YouTube. And then that was when Blockbuster existed. I went to my Blockbuster and started watching Asian movies, and I might find the DVD. It was very, very sparse. I basically found whatever I could, and mainly on YouTube. And then the streaming sites started. And at first, Netflix didn't have a ton of them. Then I Googled, okay, what can I use that's not Netflix? Because I've watched everything on Netflix in that time period. And that's when Drama Fever, RIP, and Viki popped up. So I subscribed to both of them. Of course, as I said, RIP, Drama Fever, that just went away one day. I was so sad. And then Viki still exists. Now you have all of these different streaming sites that you can go to and watch Korean dramas. And this video is where you can find them, where might be a good start, that type of thing. So that's my little history of watching Korean dramas. The first one is the obvious choice. It's Netflix. That's the one that a lot of people have found Korean dramas on. That's probably where you have started too, maybe Squid Game or something like that. Netflix has a ton of Korean dramas. You can go and watch a ton of them. That will be a good start for you. If you already have Netflix, you can definitely go and peruse their choices and pick some out. And they have a good mix of genres, a lot of mix of genres. Other ones that I would recommend that you might already own if you live in the United States. You have Netflix. And with Netflix too, they obviously have bought into the Korean entertainment. And it's you can tell they have put a bunch of money into it. There's a investment there. So that will be a reliable streaming source. Another one that you might own, with Netflix getting into the game, I want to say probably, because at first Netflix didn't make their own stuff. They just exclusively bought the rights to stream it. And then they saw they were making money. And obviously the pandemic happened, which caused them to invest even more money. And then that's how they invested heavily into Korean dramas. And because they were making these moves, the other streaming sites saw that it was profitable and got in there as well. Plus, it was a market that they could touch in terms of people signing up to their own streaming sites and watching their Korean dramas there too, in Korea. So you have Netflix, that's a very good option. The other ones you might own already, Disney Plus and Hulu have started making their own as well. They have a good catalog. But I would say for that, they have a lot of crime dramas and a lot of darker dramas. Romance-wise, they do still have options. It's not all doom and gloom crime stuff, but there's a lot of crime dramas on the Disney Plus and Hulu ones. If you are more of a romance girly and you don't like the crime stuff, I would say that might not be a good streaming site for you to get into, just in my opinion, just because there's not as many romance stuff that I've found on Hulu and Disney versus Netflix or other ones I'm going to name. Amazon Prime is a good choice of that as well. They have a big catalog, mostly older stuff though. They've started making their own or getting Korean dramas, but it's a lot of older movies and older Korean dramas. I feel like if you already have Amazon Prime, check that out, see what they have. But if you are looking for something else to get other than Netflix, I would say you can hold off on that unless you're looking for a very specific Korean drama that you know is exclusive there. They don't have many exclusives, whereas Netflix has a lot and Disney Plus and Hulu has a fair amount. But again, Disney Plus and Hulu is, in my opinion, crime stuff. Another one that you might already have, there's Paramount. I wouldn't say they're worth it. They only have like 5 or 6. It's very obscure stuff. They don't have a lot of like mainstream things. If you already have Paramount for some reason, you can check those out, but that's not one that you should buy into if you want to watch more Korean dramas. That's Netflix. I would recommend very, very much. Hulu and Disney would be my next choice, especially if you're a crime junkie like me. Amazon Prime is a good option, but I would say for Korean dramas, if you already have it, check it out, but I wouldn't say like get it to check it out, right? And then you have Paramount, which I would not recommend whatsoever. Is there any other like American ones that like I have not named already before I move into the ones that I would recommend that you get exclusively for Asian dramas? Or really, well, Asian dramas, but Korean dramas. Another one you might already have, and I think in terms of Korean dramas, it's kind of a hit or miss. They might have some Korean dramas, maybe like older stuff, is YouTube. You can always try looking on YouTube for Korean dramas. I wouldn't say, in my experience, Korean dramas on YouTube are kind of hard to find. In other Asian dramas, they're a lot easier, which I'll be saying in another video. But in terms of Korean dramas, for like full episode Korean dramas, I don't know if I would say YouTube is a good option, but it's a try. You could definitely go and see if they have anything. I have not been very lucky on that. Now to the more like obscure, you might not already have these streaming sites. A big one that I would recommend if you are a person who maybe have found Korean dramas already on Netflix or Disney or things, and you've exhausted all of the ones that you have watched on those and you want to branch out and watch more, I would say your next buy, even over any other American streaming site, is Viki. Viki is, I think, was like my second streaming site that I've ever gotten once I found Korean dramas, and it has a lot. It has a ton. And not only Korean, it has a ton of other like Chinese, Thai, Taiwanese, whatever. It has a big library of just its exclusively Asian dramas and movies. I would say that is probably your best investment outside of one of the major American streaming sites like Netflix, I would say, just so you're not paying multiple streaming sites. If you had to choose some, I would say like Netflix and Viki is our good like combo. You'd be able to watch a ton of dramas. If you're into BLs and GLs, ironically, the Chinese streaming site iQIYI, IQIY, has a lot of Korean BL dramas on it, which was surprising to me when I found that out. If you are exclusively just wanting to watch Korean BL dramas, I would say like try it out, see what you think, maybe get like a couple months, like a monthly subscription, and see if it's worth it. Because if you don't watch Chinese dramas, I don't know if that's worth it or not. Because Viki has some BLs. I wouldn't say they're everywhere and they have a ton, but like iQIYI is also a good option for Korean BL dramas. Boys love dramas if you don't know what BL is. Beyond that, I don't know if I can think of any other streaming sites. Viki is probably the best option outside of one of the other major big streaming sites. Like Viki, Netflix, or Viki and Disney Plus, I think would give you cover on having access to a lot of the Korean dramas you might want to watch or check out, or you can binge. Viki really opens up a huge library for you. I think if you're one of those people that are wanting to get into Korean dramas and wanting to test the waters, I would say find some that are already on things you own and then figure out the genres you want, like romance or crime and stuff. And then if you like, yes, I've watched a ton, I'm all in, I want to watch more, I would say get Viki is your next choice. So step 1, find some on ones you already own, check them out, exhaust your library in those. Step 2, get Viki, because once you get Viki, you're not going back. There's so many dramas on there, like it would be hard to exhaust that library, really. 3, if you maybe have exhausted that, either get a third streaming site, which I don't think you really will need after Viki, and or branch out into anything other than Korean dramas, because Viki has a ton of other dramas. Netflix does too, Amazon does too. So the streaming sites, as a refresher, these are the streaming sites that I use all the time when watching Korean dramas. It's Netflix, Disney Plus or Hulu, because I'm a crime person, Viki. Those are probably my top 3 Korean dramas. You can also find them on Amazon Prime. You can also find it on YouTube. You can also find some on Paramount. Am I missing any? I don't think I am. But that's my advice on where you might want to branch out and find some Korean dramas and what streaming sites I use a lot when watching Korean dramas. So I hope this answers your question. If you have any questions, please write in the comments. Please let me know if I maybe missed one, because I'm, again, kind of pulling these out of my head. But thank you for watching another video. That is some of the streaming sites I use to watch Korean dramas. Bye. A little bonus too. I get a question where people are like, Caitlin, how do you keep track of all of your dramas? How do you get recommendations? Like, what do you use? There's a wonderful website called MyDramalist.com right here that also has an app. I don't use the app a lot. Depending on what I want to do, I usually go into the browser, but it does have an app that you can use as well. And it basically is like a whole library of Asian dramas. You can find ones you want to watch. You can make lists. You can ask questions. There's whole forums on there. There's articles. You can see what's coming up. There's a ton of things you can do with this website. And the big thing I use it is what am I watching? Like tracking what I'm watching, reviewing those, reading reviews. It helps me keep track of what I watch throughout the year. So when I do the end of the year videos or podcast episodes, I know what I've loved throughout the year. So I'm not trying to remember what I watched in January. That is a big one I use, MyDramalist. If you're looking for another app, I also use TV Time, but it's mainly just to track stuff. It's not really as big as MyDramalist. I recommend MyDramalist because there's a lot more reviews and interaction on that. TV Time is exclusively just like what I'm watching currently. I like MyDramalist in terms of you can make custom lists, and especially with me of like trying to remember what I watched 6 months ago. So you can even make custom lists. You can make custom lists on TV Time as well, but it's a little less detailed than MyDramalist. So those are the 2 that I would use to track what I watch or what I'm currently watching, or even like what I plan to watch. Those are the ones that I recommend. Just a little extra bit of information if you were wondering.